What is up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. And let me get the mic closer. Welcome back to a brand new video on the Isaac the Film Geek channel. If you like daily film content, you're in the right place. So hit that subscribe button if you wanna watch daily film content. I talk about all types of films, horror, everything, whatever. Anyways, so if you love film, and it doesn't matter what kind of film, hit that subscribe button. Help grow the channel. But today is an interesting topic that I decided to do. I know I never do face cam, so yeah, here's my face cam. And it actually took me a while to set up. In fact, I have everything filmed right here. Look. Alright, so wait, I'm not gonna show y'all. But anyways, my video for today is, should you trust Rotten Tomatoes? And that's tricky because you have two types of people in this world. Number one are people who flat out reject everything from Rotten Tomatoes. They're like, Rotten Tomatoes is a bunch of liars. Rotten Tomatoes getting paid by Disney. Rotten Tomatoes is big corporate that hates anything that's not made by Disney. Or people who just are like, if Rotten Tomatoes disagrees with one of their movies, then they'll flat out be like, yep, I hate Rotten Tomatoes. I hate everything about Rotten Tomatoes. And then there's this second type of person, and there are people who just flat out believe everything Rotten Tomatoes has. So they would legit enjoy a movie, and then right after check the Rotten Tomatoes score, and if it has a bad score, they're going to be like, oh yeah, the movie is bad, so I don't like it because Rotten Tomatoes gave it a bad score and film critics know everything. So yeah, so those are the two types of people. And then there are those other people who are like, alright, Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 60%, let me watch it myself and then give it my full on opinion. And like I said, this video is called Should You Trust Rotten Tomatoes? My answer is actually a tough one, and it is yes and no. And here's why. Rotten Tomatoes is this is on the critic score. There's two scores. For those that don't know how it works, Rotten Tomatoes has two kinds of scores. You have the critics and you have the audience. Now there's more people who vote for audience. And here's what you should look for. My answer to the question of this video is yes and no. Yes, you should see what the critics say. So like if the critics give it a 70%, just go look at the score and then be like, alright, that's good. And no, because you shouldn't just full on blindly believe a critic. And here's my answer. Basically, there's like on average a good 130 critics vote on a film, and not all of them are going to have the same opinion. Every critic is different. They have different opinions. They have different views on cinema, films, and all that. And so you're not going to just go on Rotten Tomatoes and think every critic loved the film. That's why you never see 100% or 0%. There's always something in between. Now, there are films that are 100%, then there are films that are 0%. Basically, Rotten Tomatoes takes the score by asking critics. They don't ask the critics, hey, is this film good or is this film bad? They ask the critics, is the film, would you recommend it or would you not recommend it? So those scores aren't meaning, oh yeah, this movie is bad. No, they're wondering, do you recommend it? Because at the end of the day, when an audience wants to go to the movie, their biggest question is, would you recommend this film for me? And they never ask, is the film good itself? And so Rotten Tomatoes really isn't telling you, yeah, this movie's bad, don't go watch it. Now, this is only on the score, not on what they say. And most people don't check what they say. But, so, like a film like Frozen gets like a 90%. And lots of people are like, well, how would it get 90%? Is it that good? And then you have movies like The Joker. They get like a 60% or 69%, somewhere around there. And then there are people wondering, how do they believe Frozen is better than Joker? Well, here's my answer. They don't. They recommend Frozen more because of families. There's movies that are made specifically for families tend to make more money than movies made for, rated R audience, which is just adults only. That's why a lot of movies tend to try and be PG-13 at least. Like Venom. Venom at the last second changed to PG-13 because they were afraid of that R rating. And so, of course, Frozen's going to be more recommended than Joker. Also, Joker at the time was very divisive. The film itself was, insanely divisive. So there's people, of course, that were going to say, I recommend it. Then there's going to be people who, of course, say they don't recommend it. So, of course, there's going to be a difference of opinion. And then another thing I want to address is a lot of people are like, oh, you should only follow audience score. And my answer is, just respect a person's opinion. Because something I preached a ton on this channel, and something I preach a ton to people I know, is that film is subjective. Film is like music. Film is like, music is a perfect example. Film is similar to that because not everyone's going to love the same song. Like, if Post Malone drops an album, not everyone's going to love it. There's going to be people who love it. Like Post Malone fans, most people that like rap, they're going to love it. But then you have other people who prefer like country, that prefer rock. Maybe they won't like it. And that's completely fine because that's not their cup of tea. It's the same thing if, Nickelback dropped a song. Post Malone fans more than likely won't like a Nickelback song because it's completely different audiences. Same thing with film. If I dropped a Llorona film, a second one, people who don't like horror films, like for example, people who love dramas, people who love rom-coms, people who love comedies, for the most part, they're not going to like a Llorona film because that's not their cup of tea. And even if, for example, if there's a fan of comedy and they didn't like Grown Ups, well, that's just because they didn't think it appreciated their kind. Now, does it mean that they're right to the point where everyone should agree to that opinion? Absolutely not. In fact, my favorite comic book film of all time is Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice Ultimate Cut. If you go on Rotten Tomatoes right now, it has a 30% critic-wise, or probably less. I'm not sure. I haven't checked fully. And that doesn't mean that I have to not enjoy the film. No. And I always see this misconception of tons of people saying, oh, a movie's bad rated, so the movie's of course going to be bad. I mean, yeah, it can be bad, but anything in films can happen. The Rugrats movie could win an Oscar, but it's almost impossible. And with Rotten Tomatoes, you should just look at the critic score. Look at what the critics say and be like, hey, you know what? I respect their opinion. Let me go watch the film myself. Give it my own opinion. Because at the end of the day, it's you who's watching the film. It's you who has to watch it. Like, if Joker looks interesting to you, go watch it. And if it sucks, then you didn't like it. It doesn't mean everyone else is not going to like it. Which is another thing. A film that was massively divisive was Star Wars The Last Jedi. And critics loved it. Fans hated it. For the most part, Star Wars fans hate it. And I noticed lots of people making videos saying, oh, I can't believe you like The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi was so bad that I don't know how people can like it. It's fine if you see how people don't like a film that you don't like. Where I do draw the line is when you tell people this movie is bad and you liking it is stupid. No. Because film is subjective. Film is not for everyone. Personally, I don't think The Last Jedi was that bad. Now, I can see why people hated the film. I can see why people loved the film. But at the end of the day, those are people making their own opinion. Now, you're probably going to come here and say, oh, but so what's the point of the score? The point of the score is to recommend a film. The reason why Last Jedi was so recommendable was because it's a family film. It's a film the whole family's going to love. Not only that, but Star Wars fans would probably love it because it has Star Wars stuff. So, of course, the film is going to be massively recommendable. In the audience score, the audience aren't trained critics. So, there's a difference between a critic and just regular audience. A critic has to go watch a new film every week. go to the theaters. They do it as their job. Their job is to analyze the film, be like, is the story good? Is the plot good? Is everything intact? Is the cinematography great? Is it? Now, do I recommend it? Yes. Do I recommend it? No. Whatever. Something like that. The audience themselves, when they go to a movie, they go anticipating it. They watch trailers, they watch previews, and then they make that decision saying, you know what, I'm going to go watch the film. Now, should I, the audience chooses to go to the film. So that's already a massive difference. And if people love, a film like, Jigsaw, they see the trailer, they're like, it looks good, I'm going to go watch it. They're probably going to go in thinking they're going to like it, because the general audience is only going to go watch a film if they think it looks good or it catches their attention. They're not just going to go to the movies, just to watch a film that they don't know much about and that they thought looked bad, for the most part. And so, of course, you're going to have massively different scores when it comes to critics and audience. Doesn't mean the audience is wrong for how they think. It doesn't mean that the critics are wrong for how they think. It's just difference of opinions. It's subjective. And another thing that I hate that lots of people keep on doing is saying Rotten Tomatoes is paid off by Disney. Rotten Tomatoes is owned by Disney. So, of course, the critics give it a good percentage. They don't give a score based off of who makes the film. Now, yeah, they can go into a film giving it more respect. Like Christopher Nolan, probably the most respected director in Hollywood right now. Yeah, if they go watch a film like Tenet, they're going to be like, all right, Christopher Nolan made it, so I'm intrigued. And of course, they're going to go in there with that mentality. But they won't judge a film based off of who made it. They're going to judge it based on a film. Like Tenet, 80%. That's low for Christopher Nolan. I mean, it's high for anyone, but low for a Christopher Nolan film. But they don't just go into the films just because a director made it. And same thing with Disney. I mean, yeah, they will have more respect for Disney because Disney has done miracles. They've done wonders. Disney has produced a ton of great films that families enjoyed, kids enjoyed. So, of course, they're going to go in with more respect. But they judge the film as a film itself. Disney isn't paying Rotten Tomatoes to give them a good score. They're not. Because either way, Disney's going to make a ton of money off this film. They're not going to pay off critics. Because for the most part, the general audience, when they go watch a Disney film, they don't really watch the score. They're like, looks fun. Especially with Pixar. With Pixar, they just, the film looks fun. I'm going to go watch it. That's basically what the general audience thinks. And for those wondering what the score is even for, like, if you're making a film, should you worry about the score? Absolutely. Because the score, a lot of people are going to look at and be like, all right, I'm going to respect it. Because personally, I'm going to be for real. If I see it get a 15%, I'm going to have low expectations for a film. And not every film, of course, is going to be bad. Like I said, BVS, one of my favorite comic book movies, actually my favorite comic book film. So they gave it a 30%. And of course, I went in worried because, I was like, I don't want to go to the movies and, just spend all this money for a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. I left being pleased. Doesn't mean that I like bad movies. It just means I enjoyed that movie and they happen to not like it. And also, it's not all, that 30%, that means there's a good minority of film critics that said, I enjoyed BVS. And I think that's something people have to learn about Rotten Tomatoes. So to answer my question on if Rotten Tomatoes is trustworthy or not, my answer is just respect the score, audience, and critics, and then watch the film yourself. Now, if you're looking at a score and to think, for example, pretend Captain Marvel comes out, and before you're hesitant, you're like, I don't know, maybe, and you want to wait for the critics score, and the critics, give it a 50%, and you're like, that's not good enough. That's completely fine to think because that's what the scores are for. But the thing you shouldn't be thinking is, oh, Captain Marvel is a bad movie, so of course I'm not going to watch it. What you can't say is, oh, they gave it a poor score, so I'm not going to go watch it. That's completely fine. Just don't judge a movie based off of its score. Now, if you and the critics agree, for example, if there's a film that's 20% and you believe that 20% is given, then that's great. As long as you watch the film and you give your own opinion, that's completely fine. Me personally, when I see a Rotten Tomatoes score, I just respect it. I'm like, all right, they gave it a 70%, so I'm going to watch the film myself, see if that 70% is true or not. And it doesn't mean your opinion is wrong, or my opinion's wrong, or anyone's opinion's wrong. It just means there's different film viewers. A film is never made for everyone. Black Panther, I personally didn't really like it that much. I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. And I'm fine if people love the film. In fact, I want people to like a movie I don't like. For me, films connect people. Films aren't just meant for one type of person. Films are just meant for entertainment. Films are meant for people who are going to enjoy it. And if you didn't enjoy it, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't be holding Rotten Tomatoes to be this powerhouse that, they're everything. They're the ones who are correct. And you shouldn't also think about them low and be like, they're paid off by Disney. They're not trustworthy or at all, whatever. Same thing with IMDb. Same thing with CinemaScore. Same thing with Metascore. Same thing with a ton of, just respect the score and move on. And respect the score, watch the film, and then move on. Because at the end of the day, you're the one that chooses what you think of a film. If you didn't like Infinity War, then okay. That is your opinion. No one's going to argue with you because that is you who watched the film. You gave it a chance and it failed you, then that's fine. Just don't go out saying, Infinity War is a bad movie. I can't believe. Because there's this channel called Geeks and Gamers. Just a few days ago, they were criticizing fans of The Last Jedi. And it's actually kind of a reason why I want to make this video. They said it's okay to like a bad movie. Just admit it's a bad movie. No, I completely disagree. Now, I think arguing about, for example, if you like The Last Jedi, and you go out telling everyone, oh, the movie's good, you just don't understand it, then that's when you're being arrogant. Where I do think Geeks and Gamers, I forgot the guy's name, but the channel, them being rude about it is when they said, oh yeah, it's fine if you like a bad movie, just admit it's a bad movie. No, don't say that. What you should be like is, I respect that you think it's a bad movie, but me personally, it's not a bad movie. If you enjoy it, then so be it. Just, it's really frustrating seeing people arguing because film is subjective. I remember a few days ago, I had a few friends, they were arguing about Spider-Man 3. Oh, Spider-Man was good. The critics just didn't understand it. No. For me personally, Spider-Man 3 is a okay film. But if you loved it, then that's fine. That is completely fine. In fact, I'm glad you liked the movie because I want people to be entertained by a film. Now, if it didn't entertain me, then that's just my story. And I always see people arguing, and when they argue, I always hear this dumb thing. And I know that I'm getting off topic with Rotten Tomatoes, but this is kind of similar. When there's two people arguing about a movie, there's some people who, this is probably the dumbest thing I hear in an argument about film. And that's, oh, you enjoyed this film, so you have no right to give an opinion on film. No, you have that right. You have a right to give an opinion on any film. It's just that your films are subjective. Your opinion on everything is subjective. And, that's movie specifically. It's subjective. If there's a movie that everyone hates and you like it, then that's good. That's great. I respect that. Doesn't mean we have to agree. As long as you enjoy a film, I think that's good. You don't have to listen to the critics. You don't have to listen to what other people say. If you enjoy a film, that's great. That's great. So, I'm about to wrap up the video. I just wanted to have a quick discussion about Rotten Tomatoes because I hate these two types of people. So basically my answer to this question is you should respect Rotten Tomatoes and then give your own opinion. So are they trustworthy at the end? I mean, yes, technically. Because by trustworthy, you're implying, oh, they're giving their real opinion on a film. So yeah, that's really going to be it for the video. I want to thank you guys for, taking the time to watch this video. I worked hard on everything, I have a camera set up right there. I have a microphone set up. I have to edit this video now. And, I want to thank you guys for taking your time and watch this video. So I want you guys to comment down below, what are your thoughts on Rotten Tomato? Do you see them as trustworthy? Do you agree with everything? Or do you just think, that they're owned by Disney or whatever? Your opinion, you can think whatever you want. That's fine. So, yeah, make sure to drop that comment down below. And until next time, peace.